Let's stop wasting the time of this very busy gentleman, the host of Greenlight Pod, one of our favorites, Chris Long, back here on the show. How are you, Chris? What's going on, man?
Chris.
Rich, what's up, man? Fellas,
What's up?
How y'all doing?
What's
DJ?
We're just trying to solve a mystery. Mike Del Tufo's Instagram account always gets the same number of likes no matter what he posts, somewhere between like 420 and 480 number of likes. Like something's up. Something's up, Chris.
Is it possible that on the back end of the account they're buying likes or something like that at a consistent
Interesting.
rate?
You would say such a thing because we just did as well. Yes, that's exactly what we're accusing him of doing. He's never been to Russia, right? You can't see it from your house either. Okay, our sound audio.
I've missed the World Cup in Russia. He's got some geotag pictures.
Hey, yeah, make sure you turn off the geotags when you retweet your own tweet. This is good tweet.
Chris.
This is good.
Good
tweet.
to see you, man. How you been? Good to see you.
I'm good. I mean, it's kind of that time in the sports calendar, Rich.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I don't mind it.
What'd you think of the Brady roast? Did you see it?
Oh, I thought it was great. I didn't watch the whole thing in real time, but being a St. Louis comedian, Nikki Glazer's been on my radar for a while, and I think she's the roast goat. Like, I think she's the one you don't want to see at your roast, right?
Yes.
It's like, if I had a roast, not that I'm important enough to have a roast, but if they had Nikki Glazer there, I'm like, I'm out. I'm sick.
She brings
the family.
She brings the gun to the knife fight. Yeah, she does. She's amazing.
Yeah. And you know, Jules certainly made an impression. There were some bombs that were dropped. I mean, like, I thought Tom was a pretty good sport about it.
Oh my God.
I think it was pretty fun.
So, as a former Patriot, I'm curious to get your 2 cents on my take of it. Sitting there, I felt like I was in the midst of a therapy session, like I strolled into somebody's therapy session. That there was, even when Edelman just looked at Belichick doing his imitation, and before he hits his punchline, he literally said the words, "I've been waiting so long for this," is what he said.
One of the things the Patriots do so well, or did so well with Bill and that group, was like a lot was unsaid. You know, it was said privately, or, you know, even some of I gathered that kind of like some of the tensions or whatever, what have you, weren't really talked about. They were kind of like, they just kind of like existed. And I think when the whole band broke up, it would stink if they couldn't get back together and joke around and, you know, like, and you know, share a stage. I think that was really cool. And like, to have Bill, I mean, his delivery was like, it was his first time doing a roast, but I thought his joke was killer about the documentary. I thought he held his own.
Yeah, and the joke of like, everybody keeps wondering, you know, who is more responsible for the dynasty? Was it Tom? Was it me? It's the both of us because of me. That was just, I fell out of my seat when he said that. I fell out of my seat. You know,
and you know, it's like, it's cool to see Bill in these spaces, right? Like to see Bill on TV, to see Bill do College Game Day was awesome. Like, a lot of people were like, is he going to be good at this? I was like, just watch. And he put that helmet on, and you're like, again, I said this before he started doing this, but the scarcity, you know, that factor, you don't hear from him. You know, he's not up at the podium. That's not his job. So for decades, we've been like, what would it be like to see Bill joke around and just be Bill? And now, like, you get to see that. And you can see Tom and all these guys engaging in, like, whatever the next chapter is. Like, Jules's podcast is great. Tom's going to be doing God knows what for the next 10 years. He's going to be doing something big in TV or whatever. And so I think it's really cool. And then Gronk gets to work with my dad. It's been pretty fun watching these guys matriculate to like the post-football stage.
Although Bill's line also saying, you know, I'm famous for saying do your job, but Gronk, I've seen you on Fox. Stop doing your job.
Do someone else's job.
Please stop doing your job.
Gross.
It's so funny. I didn't see that one.
Yes. He's like, I'm famous for saying do your job, but hey, Gronk, I've seen you on Fox. Please stop doing your job.
Hey, listen, my dad loves Gronk. Like, just enamored with Gronk. Like,
why not?
They had like a Bahamas retreat at Fox, and Gronk was down there. And the first time my dad comes back, he could have been talking about anything. He's like, Gronk's huge, man. He's just out on the beach, just huge. That guy's just a mountain. Like, there's nobody like Gronk. Like, I've never seen anything like it. I'm like, Dad, your favorite part of going to work is Rob Gronkowski. It's amazing.
I don't blame him. And then also, just before we move on here, the fact that Bill stayed on the dais, where you put yourself right in somebody's sights, where he could have literally done his thing and pirouetted and walked out, which Peyton Manning did and Ben Affleck did. But he then took a seat between Gronk and Randy Moss, and the slings and the arrows did not stop coming in his direction. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was like who's who of people on stage. There were a ton of comedians up there.
Oh my God.
And then there's guys like, I think I saw Nate Solder. I was like, Nate, are you going to roast?
Oh, yeah.
Matt Light.
Yeah, Light was there, and so was Dan Copen was there.
Yeah, Copen. Yeah.
Amendola was there.
Rodney Harrison.
Right, Rodney. There. Oh, yeah, Willie McGinnis, too. It was great to see him. And then Bob Kraft came up, and they did a shot. Now that one was... I figured that there's still some water under the bridge, but it still was great to see. You know what I mean? That's the way I was sitting there.
Yeah, there's a little water under the bridge, I'm sure.
Right. Chris Long
but
here.
At the end of the day, it's football.
Yeah. I mean,
people spent decades with each other. If you can't find some common ground out of that and, be able to like laugh and get together once a year, I don't care what happened. You guys won championships. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Chris Long here on the Rich Eisen Show. You also showed up on my timeline, Chris, over the last couple days, courtesy of Austin Rivers, saying that he knows of 30 NBA players that could make the NFL Pro Bowl or stardom or something like that. To paraphrase, that there's an NBA to NFL pipeline that would be far more successful than the other way around. And he set you off a little bit, Chris. Like what?
No. He gave me an alley-oop, part of the basketball fun. No, it's just like, it is that time of year where there's nothing to talk about. And I get home, yesterday dealing with, being a dad of 3 and all that stuff. And I see this thing and I read the headline and I'm like, I'm not even gonna watch the video. Because I don't want to get upset. Like, that wasn't me upset. That was me animated. Like, I'm really animated about a topic like this because it's fun, because we've talked about it before. Like, I've wondered, I really have thought about this, and I'm not saying they aren't better athletes. They're 10 times the athletes in a lot of cases. Like, those guys are incredible. I think we're the grunt work guys largely, but we are specialized. You know what I mean? Just like they are. And I think it's like kind of naive to think that you're going to walk into a sport that you haven't been doing. Maybe you played in high school, but that you haven't been doing relative to somebody who's been doing the same athletic repetition over decades, tens of thousands of times. And you're going to be able to just walk in and get the same feel for the game. Like, I don't think there's a single NFL player that could play in the NBA. You guys are too skilled. It's not even about height, because I don't think any 6'10" wing guys are projected as football players. What we're talking about is like those 6'3" to 6'6" guys, right? Really explosive guys. I don't really think about a big 6'8" red zone target. I don't think about guys becoming offensive tackles. I think there's a list of maybe 7 to 8 guys that I would put on my NFL watch list.
Who's that?
Well, I'm working on it right now.
Okay.
Anthony Edwards, number 1. I think he could play wide receiver and go for 1,000 yards next year. Like, I just think he's kind of a rare field kind of athlete. He's like a special athlete. I'd say Russell Westbrook would be one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make a decision on Josh Hart. I'm trying to make a decision on OG Anunoby. I'm trying to make. I'm scouting people like.
I love this.
Hold on. The guy named Precious on the Knicks.
Precious Achiuwa. Yeah.
I'm like looking at his tape, bro. Like, I'm taking this serious, Austin Rivers, dude. I'm taking it. You gave me something to do. I was bored. And now I'm looking at combine numbers. I just think it's kind of naive to discount the feel of a game, right? And then we haven't even gotten to the collisions. You want me to be animated, I'll get animated about training camp, because like Richard Jefferson responded to me yesterday. It took me out of context a little bit, but that's my guy. And he was like, well, I forget what he said, but the most important part is what I said. And what I said was, it's really hard to just say because a guy's athletic enough, he could make the NFL. Making the NFL is not just making a team. It's the process that goes into making a team and then staying on a team. We're not talking about like you could make training camp. Sure. Like we've taken a look at like all types of athletes. NFL scouts are scouting basketball players in other sports every year. Right. There have been college basketball players who have come to play football. It just doesn't happen at a high enough click to think it's automatic is all I'm saying. And 30, that's a lot of guys, dude.
It is.
I challenge you to find 30 guys. I could find 5 to 7, I think, that I would feel like if you gave them a year. Russell Westbrook, I don't know if I mentioned him.
You did. Yep.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook. I don't know why I think Jaylen Brown's really explosive. Is he really explosive?
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm. That's not a bad one,
you
too.
You said P.J. Tucker, too, Chris, the other day, right?
I just like P.J. Tucker. I think P.J. Tucker's a badass, and I'd like to make him a D lineman.
What would Achua play? What are you seeing out of him? Because I'd love to hear what the smack talk from a secondary would be if a guy named Precious goes over the middle. You know what I mean? Like that would be.
I don't think so. I think I'm more looking at him as like a blocking tight end or an edge player. The problem is like it's just a different kind of athleticism. It's like fast twitch. To the 10th degree, like our plays are 3-4 seconds long. They're running up and down the court. There's some guys that have that burst that you see them and you're like, I saw that guy attack the rim. I think he might be able to play safety. Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as easy as people think. And I also think this, like football players get calloused over time. And I don't mean that literally, like we have calluses all over, but Adrian Peterson felt like he had been calloused over 20 years, like hitting him.
Well,
it is a different conditioning. And I didn't realize it when I played, but when I retired, looking back at it, I'm like, that is the most violent, unimaginable job. And I cannot believe I did it for a long time. I don't see how somebody would just walk off the court and then be able to do that. Like, are they raw athletes that might be good enough? But you could say the same thing about the NFL. Like if you gave Myles Garrett a basketball since he was 4 years old, put him in AAU camps, and said, this is what you're going to do. There's no football for this guy who's a ball of muscle. I think maybe he could play in the NBA.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, he's crossing.
Evan Funchess.
He's crossing over. He's cross dribbling. He's crossover dribbling before snaps. Myles Garrett already. The way I went with it, Chris, is I went in a different direction, saying an NBA player going to the NFL, like, good luck joining a league where you don't get traded just because you've asked for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like best of luck with that one. Like you could count. I mean, what's the larger number? Larger number being what? NBA players that can make the NFL, or NFL players who actually in real life have been traded because they've asked for it.
You know that's funny. That's really funny. I mean, I might take the
NBA players.
I might take the NBA players on that because it just doesn't. Yeah, you're right. Like the player empowerment thing is totally different. Like, I was being funny kind of going through training camp. Like, I hope Austin Rivers didn't see it as like, oh, he hates me. Like, I would argue with Austin Rivers like this in a locker room. This is like a tailor-made locker room argument. But the fact of the matter is it's just too big of a leap of logic. It really is to think somebody could just walk in. And the training camp thing's totally true. 8 a.m., 100 degrees, practicing in a bowl somewhere in the deep South. And, like you're sweating profusely the minute you walk out there. Your breakfast is right here because you just ate and it's inside run. And you get a bruise on your forehead and it stays there the whole camp. And there's some little coach who's half your size and he's screaming at you, calling you names. If
then you go back to your dorm room with a broken air conditioner,
and then you go back to like the Hyatt or something. The Hyatt might be nice, but like I'm talking about, then you go back to the Holiday Inn. We stayed at the Cavalier Inn for 6 weeks. 6 weeks with Al Groh, a Parcells Tree guy, had us in an outdoor hallway hotel for 6 weeks. couldn't see anybody. And we're doing Oklahoma drills in the lower bowl. I'll never forget this, man. I'll never forget this. We were doing Oklahoma drills over and over again. It's 100. Now it's 110 degrees. Okay. And there was this guy that caught a full body cramp and he's laying on the ground. It was like the 10th Oklahoma drill. And I'm not going to name him, but he's one of my college teammates. He's on the ground and he's writhing in pain. And this coach comes over, one of the assistant coaches, starts cussing him out, yelling at him over on top of him, and then falls over and catches a full body cramp himself.
the coach got a cramp
and these
too?
guys are both on the ground, all right? And then after practice, they're sharing their IV. They're getting IVs next to each other in the training room.
Is he still
like, I mean, it's just like that stuff doesn't the intensity of a football experience. And only football players who played in college and beyond know this. It can be demeaning. I've heard people say things to coaches, say things to players that would never fly in the NBA. Not because they're badasses. NBA guys are tough, physical badasses.
Sure.
But it is a differently structured league, and it's a different sport.
No doubt. So, but was there a moment that subsided and everybody starts laughing that the coach was yelling at the player for?
Yeah, that's another thing about football humor. Like, you find humor in a lot of things. I told another story in the wake of this where it was like, this is a professional practice, man. And I'm not trying to act like I'm a badass or anything, but we were in the coal mines for a while relative to the NBA. Like, it was a different world. Like, guy got his rib broke, punctured his lung or something. Like, it was bad enough where they needed to call the ambulance. And they moved the drill. They moved the drill so the ambulance could drive on the field.
Unbelievable.
And we're doing another drill. And the guy's like, he'll be okay. He's over there, like, whatever. I'm like, bro, this is insanity. And you get so conditioned and to it being normal. Yep. And that's the thing that, like, it's you cannot understand that, Austin Rivers. Respectfully, you can't understand how normal the discomfort is in the NFL.
Dude, I love our chats, man. I missed them. I'm glad you had 20 minutes to do this one. So the pod, where are we with the pod? What do you got? What's up?
I have
Who's on?
Denard Wilson coming on today.
Okay, that would have been great if you're like, I've got LeBron James, and you start naming all these different NBA players.
I'm going to tell LeBron James he sucks. And all
Suck it up, LeBron.
And here I am worried because this thing made news. It's got like 3 million views on Twitter. My brother texted me, he's like, 3 million views. I'm like, what happened? Like, I wrote that thing down on a Post-it note and ran upstairs and did it. And now I'm worried that, like, LeBron James saw it and thinks I'm an asshole. I respect you guys, but what I'm saying is it's just a different world, man.
Yep. Well, listen, if you need a guest for your pod, like you're helping, you're helping this show get through the May non-football game doldrums, I'm happy to provide the same for you.
Yeah, bro.
Anytime.
We got to get you back on. We can really break this thing down. I got some combine metrics. I want to compare NBA, NFL, the whole thing.
Okay, man. You're really getting into it. I love it.
Chris, there's a guy named Isaiah Stewart, speaking of LeBron. If you're looking at check him out chasing LeBron when he was trying to fight him. You'll get some good video from
That's not bad.
You could break that down, how he's trying to break away from tackles. He's cutting. He's using lateral quickness. He's trying to get to LeBron.
He found the hole. He found the tunnel.
Quick burst, like he was through there.
Hey, from what I understand, Isaiah Stewart, pretty tough guy. And so is that guy on the Pacers who used to play for the Heat.
Yeah, Johnson.
I think Bobby Portis is a total badass.
That's true.
Like,
okay.
Those two were like, I was like, the guy from Casper with 9 black belts is upset.
Yeah. There you go. See, Chris Long is scouting.
That's what I'm saying.
He's scouting, everybody.
Appreciate you, TJ.
Take care, brother. You be well. Good to see you. Chris Long, everybody. Green Light with Chris Long podcast. Oh, my God. That was funny. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.